Hi. So I realized I've read more books in the past 2 years than I have read this year, and I need to make some space because it's quite a few books. So anyway, let's go through them and just give a brief review. Plays 1, Duncan Macmillan. Uh, Plays Insiders, Monster, Lungs, 2071, Every Brilliant Thing, and People, Places, and Things. It's basically plays. Um, yeah, just a reference. Reread only for reference. Okay. Mike Bartlett, plays 1 again. Not talking, my child, artifacts, contractions, cock. Does not have bull. But anyway, again, only for reference. Peak by Anders Ericsson and Robert Poole. Very good book. Really tells me about peak performance of not just athletes, but musicians, mathematicians, scientists, what it takes to have peak potential, peak maximum productivity, maximum output, input. Worth a reread. Wish this was an audiobook. Maybe it is. But anyway, Peak. Yeah. I think I was introduced to this through Malcolm Gladwell's book of Outliers. He probably referenced it. Or there's a reference to Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers about the violin thing, about the 10,000 hours, and this goes further about the 10,000 hours. But yeah, definitely worth read. Reread maybe in the future. John York, Into the Woods. Classic book if you are a screenwriter. Showing, not telling, structure, screenplay structure. Talks a lot about British TV, especially EastEnders. How to set up certain things. Thelma Louise. Yeah, good book. Guess now that I've read it, not that I don't remember most of it, but I've taken away principles of it. This goes in the screenwriting pile. Hooked by Nur Eyal. How to build habit-forming products. Similar to how people are addicted to their smartphones, this goes a bit deeper into examples before smartphone and during smartphone as to how things are hook you, basically. There's some experiments in here. It's a very interesting read as to how people, companies keep users on their website for longer. Interesting diagram. Good book, good read. Would reread, I guess, in the future. The Idea by Eric Bork. 7 ideas for 7 elements. Got these 7 elements written down. They spell problem if you just don't want to read the book, but they are punishing, relatable, original, believable, life-altering, entertaining, and meaningful. And the last chapter is putting problem to work. So it's saying any good script has these 7 elements within the script, as well as possibly within the scene of punishing, relatable, original, believable, life-altering, entertaining, and meaningful. Decent book, well written. Eric Bork, check him out. Stick with It by Sean Young, PhD. Good book in general. Told me about how to stick with a task, basically. Just gonna read the chapters. science of lasting change. Science is an acronym for step ladders, community, important, ease, neurohacks, captivating, and ingrained. And then chapter 9 is putting it all together. So it's just a step-by-step reasoning of how to stick with it, how to carry out a task, and then knowing that if you have step ladders, how to start small, micro steps. No, if you can't do micro steps, then you do nano steps. Community, how you can involve yourself in the community to have accountability. Important, not that it's important for you, but important for people. So it's leave something behind for the people. Easy. Neurohacks, captivating and ingrained. Anyway, good book in terms of telling people, or just for someone that's maybe procrastinating or something, or for someone that's not really sure how to go about doing what they might think is a really big task. So this helped me with screenwriting. This helped me with going to the gym. This helped me with just starting a task and then continuing a task. So if you think that you want to do something and you don't know how to go about it, then I recommend this book. Video Game Storytelling by Evan Skolnick. Evan Skolnick. Yeah, it just goes into examples of video games, why it's good, why it's bad. It was a good read. Would reread, I guess. Playing for Keeps. Got this already? No, I don't. Playing for Keeps. Michael Jordan. And the World He Made. David Halberstam. It was a really interesting read, from what I remember, because it really details his life right from the beginning up until, where does this go to? I think this goes to Washington. I'm not sure. Epilogue. Yeah, it does go into a little bit of Washington, I think. It's summer 98. Anyway, it details everything. If you think you know about Michael Jordan, then no, you don't, because you've just watched YouTube videos. Infamous, the shot, final shot. Retirement, second retirement, Laney. Yeah, I think I got this off eBay or Amazon for like $1 or maybe $2. So a good book. I love this guy. Deep Work, Cal Newport. Talks about flow state, talks about how these days people are task switching, how people aren't focused on one thing, but they multitask. But when actually the real value in the economy is to be able to immerse yourself in one particular task at a time for a long period of time, or as long as possible. I don't remember if this talks about Pomodoro technique, but it does talk about, let's read the chapter headings. Part 1, the idea. Deep work is valuable. Deep work is rare. Deep work is meaningful. Part 2, the rules. Work deeply. Embrace boredom. Quit social media and drain the shallows. So this was the book which prompted me to really look at my social media, as in terms of how much I was checking per day, what I was checking. Was I infinity scrolling? Was I reacting? Was it really a valuable use of my time? Deep work. And I'm glad I discovered this guy, because he also wrote another book called So Good They Can't Ignore You. I've not read that yet. I've read bits of it, but I have read his latest book, which I'll come to in a second, called Digital Minimalism, which is step by step guiding you how to minimize your digital social media and then just your devices. He doesn't mention stuff like this, but things like when you go to the gym, if you don't need your phone, just leave your phone at home. That's from me. And things like apps. I'm talking more about that book than this book, but things like apps for your email. Did you know you can turn off notifications? And if you don't need notifications, then you schedule yourself when you're going to check email. You're going to check email twice a day, once at lunchtime and once at the end of the day. That's it. And if people need you, they know that they can find you at those times because you add a signature at the bottom to say, I check my email twice a day, once at lunchtime and once in the evening. I don't need to do that because I'm not a super business person. I'm not a professor like this guy. So anyway, he gave great tips on just stuff that you need to learn in order to not be obsessed over the internet. I know it's kind of ironic me talking to you about this on YouTube, but yeah, that's deep work. Cal Newport, check it out. And Kobe Bryant's story. It's like what? How many pages is this? 79 pages, 78 pages. It's for kids, but it gives you a little breakdown about, you know, his high school stuff, joining the Lakers. Don't even know if it goes into a championship. Don't remember, but it's really, yeah, it does, because there's Shaq in here. Look at that. That's cool. Alright. That's part one.